Hello everyone, my name is Yiannis Manolis. I'm a director with Tritan Software. Thank you very much for being here today and thank you very much for the kind invitation. What I would like to do today, and following up on a very interesting brief comment in the previous panel, is follow up on our healthcare solutions for the maritime industry that have three main goals in mind. Number one, obviously provide a better healthcare to our seafarers around the world. Number two, minimize the workload both shoreside and on board. And lastly, very relevant to this panel, decrease costs for the ship owners. For those who are not aware, Tritan is a US company with offices here in Cyprus and a true global presence around the world in every continent. At the moment, we service over 3,000 vessels, platforms, offshore rigs across all segments of the shipping industry. What we have put together is a complete solution for all shipping companies, a one-stop solution if you want, that covers all the needs of a modern shipping company. At the core of our services is our SeaCare application. That's an ecosystem that allows all key stakeholders of each company to monitor what is going on with all incidents on board their vessels. And we have three main pillars: prevention, onboard treatment, and shoreside case management in case there is no ability to contain an incident on board. These three pillars are further supplemented by other services such as the mental health and wellness program, the medical chest management, and various other bits. But the key thing is, because each company, as each individual, is unique, what we are trying to do is to give them the flexibility to choose the bits and parts that better address their unique pain points. Starting with the SeaCare software, since we live in an era that everybody has a software, we have a GDPR-compliant ecosystem that allows all key stakeholders to monitor what's going on with their vessels. The seafarers, we give them the benefit of uploading their medical history. So when they seek treatment through the medical team, our medical team is aware and they can tailor-made their prescriptions, their treatment on each specific individual. At the same time, we're trying to minimize the workload on board. As you are very aware, the resources are quite strained, by automating a lot of the tasks on board, such as doing the inventory through a scanning application, etc. The shoreside personnel can monitor their KPIs following incidents on board without needing to follow up with the captains on board, and we pretty much streamline the whole process. At the same time, medical providers can upload their PEMEs, can upload medical cases, and obviously our medical team, as we said before, can prescribe basis what's available on board in terms of stock and, as we said, the medical history of each seafarer. Now, how we are able to generate, and I believe, from my opinion, this is a very good approach for all seeking to create cost containment. It's not trying to treat on board or contain and refer shoreside. It's trying to minimize the potential of having an emergency on board. How do you do that? Companies emphasize a lot on the PEME management. They implement rigorous exams, they audit their PEME clinics, etc. What we have tried to do is, by creating a global network of PEME clinics and utilizing our scale of operations and agreements with them, is we're trying to minimize the chance that somebody goes on board without the ship operator knowing he has a pre-existing condition that could lead to an emergency while on board. We do that both through the PEME process and through a secondary screening we have implemented for each specific PEME. So our medical team will review each specific PEME at a secondary level and try to identify other potential risks while this person will go on board. And if we identify such a risk, we will create a bespoke clinical pathway for him. Our medical team will follow up with them during his tenure on board and try to avoid any emergency from unfolding. We try to catch the incident as soon as possible, because the better it is for us as doctors, the better it is for you, for operators, but at the end of the day, it's the better for them. The second part of the service is our telemedicine support through our 24/7 access to doctors for the seafarers. We have a call center that is staffed with different specialties. All of them have sailing experience or have worked in offshore rigs, etc. So they understand the limitations of treating while somebody is on board a vessel. And of course, as we said before, treatment is tailor-made to each specific individual. We provide them with awareness campaigns that are tailor-made to each company because, for example, a fleet may have a serious spike in cat injuries for a month. You cannot provide a generic campaign for each one of them. Then you will adjust your campaign and your awareness posts for each specific one. And finally, how do we deal with somebody getting off board the vessel in case we cannot contain an incident on board? Here we have partnered up with big providers and have created a global network that leads to significant savings and minimizes the cost when it ends up going to a hospital. We do not keep any part of the savings that we generate for our partners, and we take an approach that is, first of all, we try to treat and minimize the cases before they reach the shore, and if we need to refer there, we do our best to review and audit its claim to minimize any fee leakage for the owners. These services are further supplemented by additional savings that streamline the whole process for a seafarer and a ship operator. One key thing I would say is the mental health. It got quite a lot of attention during the pandemic. Here what we try to focus on is address all the needs that the company may face, because it is not that maybe a worst case scenario that somebody is feeling suicidal or is a threat to somebody else on board, but the vast majority of the incidents come from incidents such as family pressure, work stress, bullying in the workplace, financial trouble, all this range of incidents that could potentially lead either to an emergency or a bad environment on board the vessel. And of course we supplement these with wellness programs, which is again something that came up quite a lot during the pandemic, creating nutrition plans and trying to improve seafarers' welfare while on board. So this holistic approach in general is how we are able to minimize both the number of claims that our partners face, but at the same time decrease the cost that they will eventually face. And okay, if you're below the deductible, it's okay, you will pay it, you know that, but what happens when it goes above? The P&I will get involved, your track record will get worse, and you face some indirect costs in the future. At the same time, you're able to save quite a lot of money through unnecessary crew rotation of hires, deviations. So my opinion is that taking an approach like that is something that can create a lot of cost saving for owners, and it's something that is not focused as much as it should be. And coming back to the question from the previous panel is what we would like to change. I think what we would like as a company to see changing the industry is what leads to change is an implementation of solutions like that, because what we have experienced so far and talking to competitors, etc., is that we've noticed that there is a very vivid move to switch to this type of services, but the actual implementation takes place once an emergency takes place on board. So I believe there should be more proactiveness and more eagerness to change before such a thing occurs on board. Thank you very much.